Maybe we'll have to go back sometime and record our original 3.
We should do those.
Kind of more in the swing of things.
We've got an Ewok episode that's longer than our Empire Strikes Back episode.
Wait, what?
That's just sad.
So,
all right. I guess, Aaron, you want to give us the countdown?
ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The Hut.
Yeah.
Cue the music. Can't really use that though, because we never include the countdown in the podcast, but we could behind the scenes.
Be a sneak peek.
Behind the curtain, how this thing is made.
And that's it. No.
That's the secret.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to Star Wars Total Rewatch. Today we have totally rewatched the Clone Wars animated movie that came out just before the long-running TV show. It was pretty much the prequel leading up into it. And we are joined today, as usual, by me, Cody.
Isaac.
Daniel.
And Aaron.
This is kind of the new dawn of Star Wars, in a sense.
Yeah, the Clone Wars is gonna go for a while.
Yep.
I think there are more Clone Wars episodes than there are of everything we've watched up to this point.
It's going to take a while to get through all the... We've covered so many Ewoks. I wonder how long it'll take us till we've eclipsed that time.
I don't know. Maybe we'll make an announcement when we get there.
I can't imagine we'll be done with this in a year.
I think it'll be more than that, unless we do like multiple episodes a week. It could happen.
So we've gone over a year now.
Oh yeah,
since we've started.
Yeah, first official episode came out in July, and we are now recording this one in August of 2020. Been going for just over a year.
Yeah, it's been some pretty crazy months. We haven't been keeping up with our crazy schedule that we had going before, an episode a week. Once they started to get to like 3-hour movies,
exactly,
they take a while to edit.
They do.
And one of our members, Cody, is getting married in a few days.
That's right. Woo!
So it's possible that we'll take a little break because you may have other things on your mind than Star Wars podcasting.
I can't think of...
You can't think of what? Okay.
She doesn't listen to it, so I can... Well, it's not like we're going on a big trip or anything anyway, so...
You're not?
No, we were thinking about doing the Star Tours, but they shut them down.
Star Tours.
After the destruction of Alderaan, like they're
it's dangerous.
Just plummeted, yeah.
Well, the Clone Wars... We've kind of been in the Clone Wars era, actually, since Episode 2.
Mm-hmm. And then we went back in time for Knights of the Old Republic.
I was thinking about the original A New Hope. Obi-Wan mentions the Clone Wars. Leia mentions it in her hologram.
I fought with my father in the Clone Wars.
And what was just a random line back then is now fleshed out into 7 seasons, several movies, everything. And it all begins here.
Well, technically all begins in Episode 2, in the clones' first attack.
This movie came out in 2008. Should I give you some movies that came out in 2008? Top 10?
Top 5.
No.
What?
The Dark Knight.
Ooh.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh.
Kung Fu Panda. Hancock. Mamma Mia. Madagascar 2. James Bond, Quantum of Solace. Iron Man.
Ooh.
WALL-E. And Prince Caspian. So, Iron Man kicked off the Marvel world, which is still going to this day.
I said it earlier, but this is the first Star Wars movie that I actually saw in theaters. I was too young to see Episode 3. It was too violent.
This is maybe the first one I didn't see in theaters.
Where did this movie rank in the movies released this year?
Not in the top 10.
That's what I figured.
I don't know how far down the list it is.
Yeah. Probably pretty far.
Yeah, I don't think it was real popular. Do you remember what you thought of it going to see it?
I remember the droids being really wacky.
Which they are.
And it being fine. But now that I look at it, I'm like, I kind of can find enjoyment in the dumb, silly little droids. But they don't seem to bug me. Maybe it's just because I went through all of the Clone Wars seasons. I just am kind of used to that style and Matt Wood's voice.
I kind of like the droids as cartoon characters.
Yeah, they're kind of fun.
I'm not sure why I didn't go to see this when it was in the theater. I remember seeing commercials for it and thinking it looked kind of weird.
Mm.
But I feel like, today, if a similarly weird Star Wars movie was in the theater, I would go see it anyway. Probably.
Yeah.
Isaac, did you see this one in the theater?
No, I don't think I never watched it until recent.
Okay.
I liked it. It's definitely not like thematic movie quality per se, but it fits in with the show, at least the early parts of the show, and I think it's pretty fun.
There's some pretty cool battle scenes. Like, it's pretty enjoyable. But yeah, once you've seen the whole Clone Wars, you can appreciate it a bit more. Just because the characters, especially like where Ahsoka ends up, because in this one she's just kind of like very young.
Yep. Kind of introduced to her for the first time. I feel like as I got older, maybe like cartoon or animated stuff I wasn't as interested. But then lately, I've watched a few. Obviously, the Star Wars, and then I watched that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I really like all of them. So yeah, I would go to a animated for sure. An animated Star Wars, I'd go to it.
Yeah, interesting. They haven't made more.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of what was going on at the time here was we didn't know where this was headed. This is a few years after the prequel trilogy ended, which I enjoyed those, but I know a lot of people didn't. I think people were feeling a little unsure about the direction Star Wars as a whole was heading. And then this thing comes out in the theaters, and that's when I remember seeing commercials and just thinking, like, what are they even doing?
Really lost.
Like, the animation looks weird. There's like a baby Jabba the Hutt running around. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And now, like, we realize that this movie was the start of a Star Wars renaissance. But at the time, we just...
I'm surprised that this came out in the theater, because they had done their Cartoon Network thing. Just make a new show. Why did they have to put it out in the theater? Like, did they want more publicity and stuff?
What I got was that it was mostly George Lucas's idea.
Okay.
I think he said it was sort of as an afterthought.
Yeah, I saw that quote too.
This movie is actually several episodes of the show strung together.
Interesting.
Like, these were going to be maybe not the first couple of... these episodes were released in a slightly out of chronological order. But, yeah, these were like a few of the first few episodes. And George Lucas was like, oh, this looks good. Can you polish that up a little bit and put them together, and we'll put it out in the theater? Get people excited for it or something.
I think I started with the show, and then I watched this. So maybe I was a ways in this show and just kind of forgot about those episodes.
Well, no, these weren't aired as episodes ever.
Oh.
They were going to be episodes.
Okay.
And he said, no, instead, let's just use this as like the launching point for the whole thing. You can kind of tell if you're looking for like approximately every 20 to 30 minutes, there's like a little arc happening.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely chunks of it. That makes actually a lot more sense that you say that. There's definitely like endings within the movie. Like after that battle, the initial battle, I'm trying
Battle
to
of
think.
Christophsis.
Yeah, right? It seems like the movie's going to be over. But I was like, no, I've seen this. Like there's a lot more left.
And Padme shows up out of the blue.
Right, because she's got her own episode.
It's a new episode, yeah.
It worked, though. It worked. It was fine.
My feeling, to sum up my feeling about watching this again, is that it actually works fine as episodes of the show, but as a movie, it's weird.
I don't know. The overall plot is they're trying to save Jabba's son. So that's a continuous plot line through the whole thing. And it resolves.
Yeah, but I just mean to release it in the theaters and try to make us care about this like we do about any of the other films.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like such a big scope that it deserves to be released theatrically.
And as a Clone Wars movie, it's hardly about the Clone Wars.
Sure.
Like, the first battle is, but the rest of it, they're on this mission with all these huts, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like what I would expect a Clone Wars movie to be.
True.
There's a couple of cool little stylistic choices, like how it starts out with radio chatter.
And it shows the Lucasfilm logo.
That was
That
cool.
was really cool, actually. I like that.
I also liked when they first assault the monastery and they're like getting battle hatches down. They're going in on the gunships and with the red lights, and everyone's locked and loaded. Then it just opens up to chaos. And I was reading one of the things that they wanted to do is they wanted to shoot it like a movie, like there was somebody there with a camera, and not have some of those like crazy impossible shots like we mentioned in episode 3.
Yeah, it feels pretty cinematic.
There were some nice camera, in quotes, shots, like they're running into the battle behind some troopers.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the cameraman is right there with them.
Definitely has a tone. right off the bat, the opening theme is a different song. And then you've got like the narrator guy. It's like
Oh,
a
yeah.
military like newsreel.
And they're gonna do that all through the series.
Okay.
I hope you like it. No.
I don't mind it. It just feels like divergence from traditional Star Wars, which is cool. Like I'm always up for that kind of thing.
Divergence, you say?
Divergence. Yes. Anakin's voice. I think Obi-Wan's voice is pretty good. Anakin's voice just feels a little different. It's delivered differently. He kind of feels like slightly different character. I'm just gonna have to get used to this kind of alternate universe almost.
I totally, like when I think of Anakin, I generally think of the Clone Wars Anakin voice.
Yeah, I might get used to it.
Over time, I've just watched more of the Clone Wars.
Well, if you watch all of it, it's a lot. So
You get
Yeah.
more of these versions of them than you do of the live action ones.
And one thing that's really cool is they have like a mini documentary on pretty much every episode. Dave Filoni talks through as to how they came up with the episode and certain choices in it. And
Where is that on Disney Plus?
they might be on Disney Plus. I didn't see one for this movie, but I know for all the other TV episodes there are.
he did some work on The Mandalorian as well, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Dave Filoni is all over the place now.
I watched a little bit of The Mandalorian, like how they made it. They were talking to
Mhm.
a bunch of directors, and he was one of them.
He was one of the ones heading it up. Him and John
Oh,
Favreau.
okay.
And then there were other directors they had brought on.
He directed this, but I think he's been gradually getting more and more involved in leading Star Wars.
Right, producing.
Yeah, and he's like just a
Yeah.
huge fan. It's fun to watch.
yeah.
Like he just loves it, which I think it's a good thing usually because he knows Star Wars then
Mhm.
too.
Speaking of the voices, I was looking at a cast list, and the only actors who reprised their roles here are Samuel L. Jackson and Christopher Lee. Oh, and Anthony Daniels.
Yeah, Christopher Lee is an interesting one. I know Samuel L. Jackson likes to do like all of this stuff,
Yeah, it seems like he just does anything.
and Anthony Daniels will get on to place 3PO in pretty much everything made. So those are no surprises. The guy that plays Anakin in this, though, and then in the rest of the series, he's done the voice of Anakin in almost like every game that's come out and like other media.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've been seeing rumors about Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, appearing in the Obi-Wan series.
Really?
I'm not sure that's anything beyond rumor at this point, but if you are listening to this in the future, you can write back and let us know.
Last year we had rumors about The Mandalorian we were talking about, like when we were watching Ewoks. Now we got rumors about the Obi-Wan show. There are rumors we could touch on for Mandalorian Season 2, if you've heard anything.
I heard that Ahsoka might be in it.
Exactly.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
And Boba Fett will be in it.
Whoa.
So
Nice.
you're in for a treat.
Sold.
Right.
When does it come out?
They already filmed it, so it should definitely be coming out this fall. That was pre-pandemic.
So I'm just trying to think. Like, I don't want to like give stuff away. But basically, you see Ahsoka in Rebels during the.
Let's not say too
I
much.
know.
Here.
I was just saying during the main trilogy. Then you just like don't see her at all.
You know, I remember that being a thing when this movie was first released, is people saying this takes place between episodes 2 and 3, and Anakin clearly does not have a Padawan in episode
What
3.
happens to her?
So, like,
She die.
and
You'll find
no,
out.
they make it make sense.
Yeah, they do.
We are getting into territory where we might have to be a little careful about spoilers.
Well, that's why I'm here.
right, for you, because you have not
I don't
seen
want
it.
it. I don't want
so
to.
I don't want to
spoiled,
give stuff away
so
for you.
I've got to keep you guys on
Oh
your
man,
toes.
this is gonna be hard.
Ugh, I know, because I just know. We have to get through like 4 seasons, because some of the later seasons is when it
But it's
kicks
good.
off.
I think it'll allow us to maybe talk about where it seems like things might be going with an episode.
I mean, we can always cut stuff out, but now we don't want to ruin it for Daniel.
Yeah.
We can't cut that out of your head.
Well, up to
Good
this
try.
point, we haven't cared
Ugh.
because either everybody has seen it, like the movies, or it was those 80s cartoons, which there are no spoilers for those.
I don't know. If people are listening to a Star Wars channel, they should know they could hear something they didn't want to hear.
Well, if you're gonna be like a huge spoiler, like, oh, by the way, so and so dies next season, let's not do that.
Mhm.
Everybody dies in season 2. So.
In season 2, they made like 4
And then the rest of the seasons are just droids.
They're all actually they're all clones after that. The Clone Wars.
Clone and droid battles, one after another.
Right. Anyways, I suppose we should probably talk about the actual movie.
No. What?
We've talked enough.
But man, there's some pretty gruesome battle scenes. It's just people dying all over the place.
There are a lot of heads cut off in this movie. I wasn't expecting that.
Just Decapitation City.
Some of the animation
I'm not going to visit that city.
reminds me of that 2D animated.
I feel like they just kind of mimicked some. There were some scenes that were like reminiscent.
I know they definitely didn't want it to be realistic. They definitely wanted it. They wanted it to be a little bit stylized. I know Lucas wanted it to be differentiated.
You know, just speaking about the animation, like I know it was a different style they were going for, and it was more of a TV budget. But again, just looking at other movies coming out that year, we had WALL-E, and we had like I don't know, even Kung Fu Panda. Like any of those, they just look better than this. And then you get this movie where everyone's just like blocks of CGI looking around.
Definitely not a huge budget.
Yeah, it was a pretty small budget actually. I was really surprised that they said
$8 million. It made about 60 million or 68 million. So that's pretty good.
And most of that, again, I think is due to them not originally creating it as a movie. Like these are episodes for a show.
George Lucas knew what he was doing. $8 million budget, 60 million. That's a good business model.
Profit. Yeah.
After I finished watching this, just for fun, I put on like the first 5 minutes of season 7 just to compare, and it looks so much better.
it does. Oh my goodness.
I actually have not watched season 7 yet. I kind of thought, since I hadn't this far, I might just see if I can hold off until we get to it.
You might be holding off for well over a year.
2 years.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I'll maybe I'll cave and watch it.
I don't know how Daniel. Like I would, like as soon as I started watching them, I would just
watch ahead.
Have to start watching them more.
Watch one a week.
It's just painful. But I have no self-control with TV shows, so I don't.
Anyways, cutting back to the opening battle scene, I just want to say, how dumb are these clones when everybody's like, let's run out of cover and let's charge at these battle
Classic maneuver in the Clone Wars.
That's where like it has some similarities to that 2D animated one where it's like it's kind of just a shot of many lasers just pew 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 and just guys dead and then it shows the droids and it's like pew 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 dead
yeah it's just like the classic all the people you don't know just doing that and then the people you know doing cool things and being intelligent.
Oh yeah, I mean the clones, they're just running out there funnily punching that giant metal droids.
Yeah, and like there's the one clone that just runs in.
He's like, let's do this, stands up and then gets
just goes
blasted.
And hits a droid on the head and then he holds up his hand in pain. That was like the best joke.
Leroy Jenkins is it.
Leroy.
There is that part where Ahsoka pulls down a wall and Anakin's standing right where like the hole or the. I always like that joke, like where the barn or a house falls down and there's somebody standing in the window.
Buster Keaton.
Oh yeah, right.
One of the guys gets his helmet blasted off. Oof, there's quite a few gruesome deaths in this series.
And this movie is rated PG, so I'm always curious what the guidelines are for some of these things.
It's so fake.
It doesn't show anything,
As long as they don't show blood.
As long as there's no blood, you can cut off as many heads as you want.
It feels as unrealistic as anything.
I know. I'm just saying, that doesn't sound like something that, on paper, that doesn't sound like a kid's
film. On paper, it doesn't. If you're not watching it, it doesn't sound very good.
We're not watching this on paper, guys.
I think the reason it got PG was because of tobacco references.
I was going to say, it could have been G for all I'm concerned. I don't know. I'm no rating expert.
Tobacco references.
I think it's because, like, Jabba
chews.
Oh. And that one guy had, like, his little pipe or something.
Man, and Obi-Wan with those sick lightsaber
twirling
moves.
It about.
Yeah.
Anakin waits for Obi-Wan to watch, then destroys all of them.
The action in this is great, and there's like a couple lightsaber fights that honestly are really well done. I thought they were really good. A lot of the dialogue is just very bland and so simplistic, and like the plot, the way it's like these like reveals, like, oh man, didn't see that coming, and so. Some of it, sometimes I was a little bit done with this thing, but, it's fine. It's good.
I know. Like, I feel like almost every episode of our podcast, we're like, well, later in the Clone Wars, you'll see more of this thing. So, like, we're here now.
We've probably been talking it up, too.
Right. And so if you're watching along with us and this is your introduction to it, just it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
In the words of that bug creature in Droids episode 10, it gets better.
What? Oh, it gets
What, gaff?
better.
Gaff, yes.
Oh wow. Are you listening through those?
As you'll recall.
Like as Star Wars fans, like we can say, "Oh, this is great," but like sometimes these things are made for a certain demographic. I'd say that like the theatrical movies. I mean, this was in theaters, I guess, but like the trilogies that have come out, like those are for most audiences. These are for kids, and
Well, to start, it is sort of, but then you'll get episodes that
is my
are
sense is that the show gets a lot more mature.
even early on though. Will just be episodes kind of like this is a kids show. Like it's pretty intense and pretty dark, and then all of a sudden you have like C-3PO running around like an idiot. So it's like it goes back and
Yes.
forth a lot
Interesting.
early on.
Yeah, and if you're one of the people listening and that's not you're not concerned with watching every single episode, you can find lists out there that are like, here's the episodes you should watch, and also lists that have them in chronological order because they're not necessarily in chronological order.
You can skip episodes if you listeners want, but that's not us. We are
Skip.
going through everything.
Skip.
We'll give our yubs or nubs accordingly. Don't worry.
But anyway, like so, taking into account, in my mind, I'm knowing who this was made for. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a little bit annoying sometimes.
I thought it was fantastic.
Okay.
I loved every bit of it.
Stinky the Hut, some of these nicknames they give everything. That was a little much for me.
Ahsoka calls him Sky Guy all the time. Anakin.
I was gonna ask Daniel, having not seen any of this stuff before, what are your thoughts on Ahsoka?
Oh, I think she's fine. I mean, like, obviously she's the young, relatable preteen character for all the kids. But as a Star Wars character, pretty cool. Like, I like seeing a much younger Jedi. You don't get to see them too often in the movies.
Yeah.
Yep, looking forward to more of her character for sure.
There's 3 years between the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith.
Like in terms of the
Like actual
real world time, yeah, about 3 years.
Not the movie.
No?
Like, yeah.
Time in the movie,
Oh, I'm not sure.
3 years.
3 years? I have a hard time believing all this takes place in 3
I
years.
don't know. I mean, 3 years is a long time, but that's kind of what I thought. And I guess my comment was like, when does this supposedly start? Because Anakin has pretty long hair.
Like you're saying, this is not picking up straight after
I mean,
episode
it takes
2.
a while to grow that long of hair. Like he had a buzz cut. It's like at least like 6 months to a year, which would leave like 2 years left. It doesn't matter. I was just something I noticed. I was like,
Okay.
nope, I don't like it now. Everything about it was great until I noticed that.
I was gonna say, having seen some of the later shows and stuff that they've been doing with Ahsoka, when she first comes on screen here, my reaction was like, oh, she's so little. Which, it's weird because she's an animated character, but she gets older throughout the series, and then she has, like we said, some appearances later on in other things. So this is like the reaction of watching a live action show and like, oh, the little kid actor in season 1, look at how cute they were when they were
Harry
just like
Potter
10 years
series.
old.
Kids grow up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not something I'm used to seeing in an animated series. Usually everybody stays the
Right.
same.
I like the dynamic with Anakin having a Padawan.
Yeah, I like that too. It lets you explore a different side of his character to see him teaching
Yep.
somebody.
So I mean, there's a lot of action in these movies. So I mean, obviously, I think there's plenty that we don't need to.
Right, we didn't even give a summary of the movie, and we're like,
They're basically just fighting.
They fight, and then they have to rescue Jabba the Hutt's son, who is a little baby blob. They have to rescue it from Asajj Ventress
Right.
reappearing. And then they fight some more.
Yeah, they fight Count Dooku at the end. But yeah, they return his son. Happy ending.
Yeah, I mean,
and we start to see in here kind of a little bit more of the political side of fighting the war, where they have to kind of do things, especially like that Anakin does not agree with. Like, we're helping the Hutts now. We're helping criminal gangs. But it's like, we need to do this for a strategic advantage to be able to move our fleets about.
Yeah, I really like that. They do it a lot in the show where it's like the problems with war and there's tough decisions and there's a lot of gray areas.
Probably the most interesting thing about this movie is, I mean, for one thing, it's setting up this it's like a sub-universe of the Clone War era. And there's the characters involved in it, and just kind of general political landscape of that time period.
Well, they also throw in like the underworld a bit too.
Yep, there's all
Yeah,
kind of
cool.
these factors at play. I imagine that's kind of what they delve more into in the show.
Yeah, among other things, but yeah, that's part of it.
So it's a good introduction. I think it's great, knowing that there's more to come. Anyway.
I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, right. If it was a standalone thing, you'd be like, why? What was this for?
Yeah.
Guess I could ask what planet this is. They say the name, and
Christophsis.
Christofferson.
Christofferson.
You see the leader of this place. He's allied with the separatists. Sits in a tank sometimes. Pops his head out of the hatch once in a
Then
while.
Obi-Wan dupes him, does the classic stall.
Yeah, I kind of liked their interaction. That was fun.
To me, I don't think it's not that bad. It's definitely goofy.
You're saying it's not that much sillier than some of the things in the movies.
I personally don't think so.
Yeah, Star Wars has always had a lot of silliness mixed in with all the awesome stuff.
Especially newer ones. I think the originals were less silly.
You know, they had their moments too, though. The little mouse droids and everything. Like, there's always been some of that.
Oh, yeah.
There might be a little more of it in certain eras than others, but it's always been there.
But man, Obi-Wan here just taking hostages.
Yeah,
straight
it's
up like
brutal.
that. Just pretending to surrender and then not. I mean, it's
So
how's that legally?
this guy is General Form Loathsome.
Loathsome?
Kirkoiden.
Right. One of those.
He's not even from this planet, apparently.
Well, no, he's just leading the
They
invasion.
just
He's
invaded.
just leading the Separatist army.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is stalling him. And when the guy finally realizes that's what's happening, Obi-Wan just admits it. He says, I was hoping your shield would be down by now, but it's not.
Didn't really work, but then all of a sudden they get the shield down. And then Yoda shows up after they've already won, and they're like, oh, you showed up perfect timing. No, you didn't. You didn't do anything, Yoda.
Anakin and Ahsoka start to make an okay team. He wasn't so sure about having a Padawan at first, but it doesn't take them long to... Like, they're both a little reckless and a little crazy, so they can kind of understand each other.
Well, right. As far as who is Ahsoka, right? Anakin did not ask for a Padawan, and I feel like that is definitely fitting with his character. He's super independent.
Yep.
But Yoda, in all his wisdom, thinks that it would be good for him to have a Padawan. And I think he specifically chose Ahsoka because she is very headstrong.
And reckless, just like he is.
Yeah. He can maybe see his own faults in her and try to help her through them.
One thing I thought was interesting is also Yoda saying like the main thing was seeing how he would be able to let go of his Padawan. Oh, I don't know if they like kind of recognize that he's really attached to Padme and are trying to teach him that it's okay
Or
to
just
let
people
go.
in general, maybe. It's pretty attached to a lot of people, so yeah.
I didn't really know what that meant.
Well, you eventually have to let them go.
It seemed foreboding.
Well, just the fact that, like, you're training them for a set period of time, and then they will move on to their next thing. And, like, that's...
And you have to trust them to take care of themselves. You can't worry about them all the time. You gotta let them go, basically.
So we see Obi-Wan fly off in his old Episode 2 style fighter, or whatever it's called. I'm sure somebody smarter than me would know the exact name of the...
Jedi
I don't know. Usually you're the one that tells us small little things, so
I
I,
know,
don't know.
You don't know.
If you don't know, nobody knows.
I'm looking it up. It's the Delta 7 Aether Sprite class, Light Interceptor.
How did we not
Thank
remember
you.
that
Yes,
mouthful?
of course.
I am so relieved that I know that now.
Well, here's more heads.
I forgot how gruesome. They literally bring in the heads.
I did forget about that. That's pretty intense at times.
So that's at Jabba's palace. They're bringing in the bounty hunters who had been looking for his son.
Realistically, it's gross. I thought it was pretty funny.
It is funny, but like for a kids show, my point is, and Aaron is too. Like they're still carrying in heads. Like
A lot of severed heads in this movie, surprisingly.
Went from like the 80s cartoon where they're using TV remotes to shoot lasers and never kill anyone and no one ever gets hurt or dies or
Bopping
anything,
sticks.
to bringing in severed heads on
It's
a
okay for
stretcher.
kids now, yeah. And Jabba's reaction. Ooh. Surprise.
yeah.
Surprise.
I think CGI, this kind of a CGI Jabba is like gross in a different way than his movie.
I like that they get Jabba in this. I think that's cool. It's a
They
character.
just keep showing like close-ups of his face, and he's just like this weird thing.
I think Zero's even more gross.
Right.
Yeah, he is an odd fellow.
He's a weird
That one.
slug.
Indeed.
Zero is Jabba's uncle, apparently, and what a guy. He is supposed to sound like Truman Capote,
Yeah,
apparently.
that's what I thought.
For whatever reason, I couldn't tell you.
Just only had that vibe. Jabba has a protocol droid, and I like the design. It's got face paint or something.
It's C-3PO with face paint.
It's kind of like this tribal look to it. And then later, Zero has these IG droids, and they've got paint on them too. I just thought that was sweet. Paint your droids, man. That's awesome.
Maybe that's a Hutt thing.
No, I think it very well could be. Their gang, whatever, has certain paint designs.
They're Kajik. That's what the Hutt families are called.
Kajik?
Kaj. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it.
I like that there are different Hutt families trying to take over each other's territory. It's like the mafia.
Oh, exactly. Their gang territory.
But yeah, painted droids are pretty neat.
There's the epic monastery assault.
Yeah, that's a cool scene with the red light and the green light.
Very like World War
Yeah.
II style. Getting ready to jump.
Are we talking about inside of their ship?
Yeah, instead of their gunships.
The red lights? That reminded me a lot of some of those shots in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
With all the stormtroopers getting ready to go.
Green light. Go, go, go.
I think it's kind of fun because like Ahsoka, she's a little nervous, and then it's like Anakin, he just sprints right out instantly, leaves her, but she follows, so it's not a big deal.
He just kind of assumes she's behind him, like he doesn't look back.
They don't really make anything of it, but I just thought it was fun.
Well, no, I mean, he tells her you got to keep up.
Right. It's just kind of the way Anakin leads and teaches, and I think it works for her.
Watch and learn.
Works for her for sure, yeah, because it's a challenge.
That's kind of the way she is. If you had like another Padawan that was less like that, yeah.
Droid
So we're
slapstick.
laughing at some of these battle droids again.
Yeah. Just watch the one fall off the cliff because he's trying to look down at the people.
Like the
underneath.
droids are definitely sillier in this than they were
Yeah, I
in the
mean,
movies.
it's definitely they throw in a lot of that for like the kid stuff, but I guess I've been able to ignore it. I kind of forget about that.
I'm okay with it. I feel like I'll probably mention this again in a later episode, but Jar Jar shows up in a couple of episodes as well, and I think I have the same feeling about him and some of these battle droids. They feel like cartoon characters already,
Right.
and so to me, I think they fit better in this kind of a setting than maybe they do in the live action movies. Like
Right.
this already is a cartoon, so it's okay.
I wouldn't say they bother me at all, but the Jar Jar episodes, whatever. But
Well, we could-
just because there's no other, he's the character we're flashing back to. It's the slapstick droids and then flashing to Jar Jar, versus like a little more serious. You know what I mean?
So the droids are not the comic relief.
there's like
They're
nothing.
Just part
There's
of
like nothing
everything.
serious in it. Then it's just. But
Yeah, I hear you.
But anyway,
we'll get to those. But I did like the droid saying, "Aim your fire for sector 753." I don't know. He listed some number, and one of the other droids was like, 73. What was that number again? No, just right there. Shoot right there.
Just has to-
Yeah, and you can say it's because droids have personalities. We see that in like C-3PO and R2-D2, and so it would make sense that these droids too would have some weird personality quirks and stuff like that. That's how you can kind of maybe,
Oh yeah.
They get dumber
Explain it.
with time.
yeah, because they haven't updated their AI protocols and it just gets copied over and over and over again. So
I can't believe anybody would buy these droids though to defend their place.
Yeah. Who would take them seriously? You put these
They're
guys
not doing
in,
their
How much
job.
do I have
make
to
your
pay?
army out of these things.
They say something like, "Are you sure that ship's not one of ours?" It's like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Just shoot it."
They're a liability.
I think the first episode has a great line that I just love, even though it's so cheesy and dumb.
Are you gonna tell us what it is, or do we
No,
have to
I'll let you
wait and be
guys
surprised? Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why they rolled out the super battle droids. That's like the upgraded version. A little more competent.
A little bit.
A lot, I think.
A lot more.
We don't see the monks in this monastery, do we?
No.
No.
We hear about them a little bit. That supposedly this is their monastery, but the smugglers / actually Asajj Ventress took it over.
Well, that's kind of the whole secret plot. That's I don't know. It's
The
a little
big reveal.
silly, yeah.
Mhm.
Which
Like,
wasn't too big of a surprise. Is that your...
it wasn't actually smugglers that kidnapped Jabba's son. It was Asajj Ventress, who's working for Count Dooku. And then Count Dooku goes to Jabba and he tries to say that the Jedi actually captured your son. And Jabba totally believes him for no reason.
Okay, I see. I see why you're ripping on the main plot so much.
What?
But there's plenty of elements I think that are like a little more complex. But yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah.
I just thought it was like everybody's so gullible.
Right, right.
So I was looking up the monastery, and it's the Bomar Order, which is a monk's religious order that believed in isolating themselves from all physical sensation to enhance the power of their minds. But what they would do is they would transplant their brains into jars. And if you
What?
remember back episode 6, the little spider droid that's walking around in the background
Oh,
of
yeah.
Jabba's palace, that's apparently one of the monks.
Oh, cool.
Carry-
All
carrying
this
its brain
in-depth
around?
stuff that just
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
all connected.
Gross.
I remember that brain spider.
I like seeing Ventress.
Yeah,
here.
I've been listening to the audiobook
Oh, yeah.
of Dooku.
Jedi Lost.
Oh.
Yeah.
how's that?
And so Ventress in that, it's great. And like Ventress is a super interesting character, and seeing her in this, like I thought I was most interested to see more of her in this.
You will.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very cool character. You will.
Oh, you will. You will. Trust me.
Will be.
Yeah, I think it's fun to just throw in another kind of powerful character, but she's obviously not as powerful as Dooku or the Emperor. This is fun to have someone else to face off with. She's a cool character. They do a good job, like fleshing her character out and stuff.
She's basically like Anakin's nemesis.
I noticed he already knew her at the start of this
Yeah,
film.
that is something to mention as far as how does it connect with the 2D animated series.
Like, it doesn't rule out everything that happened in the 2D
Yeah,
series.
but her introduction is very different. Oh yeah, it's Dooku's assassin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe because they know who she is from Tartakovsky's Clone
They
Wars.
thought that they killed her though.
Maybe there've been more adventures between...
Not that we saw, I guess.
What's the next, like, important thing?
Or just anything you want to bring up.
They jump on, when they're escaping the
Yeah.
monastery, they jump on the flying bugs, and the little hutling goes, whee!
Yeah, the little hutling.
Yeah, the little hutling. Blah. Oh, look at him. He's so
Heck is
cute.
that?
No, he isn't, Ahsoka. Sorry.
It's not cute.
But Anakin's right. Just wait a few years. He'll be just disgusting like the rest of them.
Yeah.
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut. Yeah, think about that. By the time of the original trilogy, little Stinky the Hut is probably running his own crime organization.
Mm.
So,
That's cool.
something to think about.
Right.
No Baby Yoda anyway for this series.
It's a weird choice. It feels like, are they trying to have like a cute thing for us to follow around? Because
No, I think it's
not
just
that.
supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Gross slug that they have to carry around.
Who doesn't speak and doesn't really do anything except just be there and look
Yeah, I think
weird.
it's more part of the plot. I mean, they don't make him like that cute and adorable.
No.
Like, they're not trying to like make him everyone
No,
like.
but like, he's just not anything. He's not a character, but he's still there enough to make annoying sounds constantly, and we get to see like close-ups of his face doing something gross.
Well, I mean, they made Jar Jar too. You could say similar things about him.
But he speaks. He's intelligent,
Well, let's not go that
as he
far.
never tires of reminding us.
The ability to speak. Intelligent.
I speak.
Oh, I noticed Anakin quoting, I think, Qui-Gon at one point, right? He was telling Ahsoka, like, well, a wise Jedi once told me this.
Yeah, what did he say?
I'm forgetting now what that wise saying was.
Yeah.
But I think it was something Qui-Gon had told him when he was younger. Something about, like, you don't have to, like, prove yourself to me because the fact that you're here with me means the Force put you here. And so, like, something along those lines.
As a very wise Jedi once said, nothing happens by
There you go.
accident.
You must have patience. What are you trying to prove, anyway?
That I'm not too young to be your Padawan.
Ahsoka, a very wise Jedi once said nothing happens by accident. It is the will of the Force that you are at my side. Just want to keep you there in one piece.
Look at that poor little hutling. So sad.
Yeah, he does kind of become a big discussion point for those two. I don't know if it's a plot point, but like they have to make decisions revolving around it. Him being sick.
It is. Because they say, okay, we can go back and help our clone friends, Commander Rex, or they can take the baby Hutt and try to get him help.
Anakin wants to save everyone, and Ahsoka actually kind of has to say, "Hey, we can't let him die."
I'm not sure why the little Hutling is sick. I was wondering if they like infected him with something with the intention of also,
Just so nobody would be able to
fail-safe.
get it back safely.
Yeah.
But Ahsoka goes and talks to the emergency medical hologram.
The emergency medical hologram. And he's like, I don't know, talk to a real doctor. I was like, what is that?
Well, he does give her like some kind of a medicine thing you can use though, which seems to help.
A little dubious. I don't think I would have listened to that.
Hey, Dr. Droid, can you hear me?
Yes. What seems to be the problem?
Great. I've got a sick Hutlet. You got a remedy?
Oh, yes. I see. You must dispense one of these medical boosters into the infant's mouth. If you have any problems, please call an actual doctor to assist you.
Not very helpful. Give it one of these tablets, and if there's any other problems, please talk to a real doctor.
The ship they're flying in is the ship in Jedi Fallen.
They keep it.
Isn't it?
Oh, no,
No,
it's
I haven't
not.
played it. I could have swore that's what it looked like.
What the hell?
Really? It's not?
It's not. There's some similarities, but in Fallen Order, it's got this huge fin on the top.
It's on the top, not the bottom.
Finn is on the top.
Yeah. It just stands up there.
It is a huge fin. Oh, that's nothing like it. Okay, never mind.
It probably has a name.
It's a Twilight. Well, that's Twilight is what they name it. Because he keeps this.
Oh, they use this more?
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he just keeps it. He's like, oh, sweet. Some old smuggler ships, so he used it quite a
The
bit.
Twilight. Nice.
It's
Whose
Corellian
was
G9
it?
rigger class light frigate. That's just some smugglers, I think, that had ditched it at
Yeah,
one
it
point.
was just left on the planet.
Okay, I wasn't clear on that. You get Anakin visiting his home planet again. Ahsoka was saying like, "Oh, you must be excited to see your home again," and
Except that
he's
he
just
doesn't want
like,
to talk about it.
"I don't like sand." No, I don't know. But he has a reaction. He's kind of saying, "I don't really want to think about this place too much. I'd rather not have to go back to it."
Padme is introduced in episode 3.
What? Like the third episode of this movie?
basically,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has to just go
Well,
and
she's
get
talking
shenanigans.
to Palpatine. but
Shenanigans? You
I'm
guys talking about
confused.
shenanigans?
Like, what does Palpatine want to happen here? Does he care what happens here? It doesn't really seem like it matters
She
that much.
gets involved and scopes out Zero
Because I think like the whole
and finds the
contention
truth.
is, who's going to get safe passage through the Hutt territory, separatists or the Republic? Does it matter for Palpatine?
Zero the Hutt didn't have a whole lot to do in this movie. It turns out he was working with Count Dooku, but like Count Dooku's plot was kind of already working.
I think Zero's the one who gave him the information on where they could steal his son.
Okay.
And then Zero does come into play in a lot of the further episodes.
I don't know that I have a lot of other comments, but I did like their fight in the desert, and fun to see Ahsoka just getting into things, getting into the action, and becoming a big part of things right away.
Right. But yeah, how's it end? Anakin's Ahsoka's kind of in trouble. Anakin thinks she's been captured and the Hutts are going to kill her, right?
Yeah, but she's still fighting droids down in the desert.
Because where's the Huttling?
Well, she's got him. Anakin like lures Dooku away, but Ahsoka's actually got little baby Hutt with her. But yeah, they all end up getting caught by Jabba. He is pleased that his son is returned, but the only reason he doesn't kill them anyway is because I guess because Padme got Zero the Hutt captured, and he admits to his plot. So, peace is restored.
I thought they were going to get thrown in the Rancor pit.
Ooh.
That's what I was waiting for.
That would have been too predictable.
How embarrassing.
Well, I guess that's just about the whole
Yeah, any
episode.
closing thoughts from anybody?
I'm excited to go through the Clone Wars again. I'm excited to hear Daniel go through it for the first time.
Yeah.
Me too.
Probably the next thing you hear from us will be the start of the Clone Wars series, and we are planning on doing them, I think, in release order. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we'll mention if something is way out of place chronologically. We could talk about that.
Cool.
All right. See ya on the Clone Wars, everybody.
We'll see you on the battlefield.
That's good.